All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the South Fulton Coalition's candidate forum for the Georgia State Senate special election for Senate District 35. Tonight we have Mr. John Williams as a candidate on the forum here with us, and we're going to have a great conversation tonight. Everybody should know the rules and regulations of how we do this. Uh, there's no disrespect. We want to work in an orderly fashion, very professional. If you have any questions, please make sure you use the button to raise your hand, and we will unmute your microphone and allow you to ask your question. And so we just want to get to know Mr. Williams here, his platform, and what he wants to do for Senate District 35. So right now, I'm going to give you the floor, Mr. Williams, to give your opening statement, and we can
Okay.
get started.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Williams. I'm your candidate for State Senate District 35. I'm a longtime resident of Cobb County. That's where I've been for the last over 30 years now. I've been very active in the community. I've accomplished a lot, which I knew we'd talk about tonight. I'm married with two children, products of Cobb's system, a grandchild. I have a grandchild, his name is Zaire, which I love. Love everybody, don't get me wrong, but my grandson, that's my heart. Uh, what else? I would don't ask me questions. I'd rather go into a conversation. That's my style. So this is perfect. Just kind of that's who I am. I want to be your next state senator. My degree is in engineering, but left corporate America. Uh, so I typically I've designed airplanes to doing landscape. So I've done it all. So that's why my hashtag is of the people and for the people. I figure people are the ones that make decisions about what happens, and so that's why. Uh, you see me everywhere in the stores you're in the parks, just where normal people are, that's where you'll find me. That's who I am.
All right, we love to see it. All
Yes,
right, so
sir.
I'll get started with some questions. My first question is, what made you want to run for this seat?
I felt the need. At this current time in the climate we're in, everything is so polarized. Everybody is one way or another way, and I've been able to work across the aisles and get things accomplished. When I talk to people, I listen and I try to make things happen. And I mean by that is I don't make things personal when I'm talking to you. If I'm talking to any elected official, what I do with them is I listen to what they're saying. If I disagree with them, it's not about their personality, it's about their policies and procedures. And that's my reputation for the last 30 years in this area is that. I'm known for that, to be able to work across the aisles, dealing with people and listening. My biggest thing is I listen to people. I don't make decisions without trying to get all the information first. So everybody's opinion is valuable. I value everyone's opinion. And whether I accept it or not, that's another story. But it's still valuable. I will listen and hear what you have to say.
Okay, so speaking of everything that's going on right now, the political climate that we're currently in, how do you see that affecting our particular district?
Same way everyone else. I mean, people are hungry. People are not going to work. They're not getting paid going to work. And some of the people, they still working and not getting paid. Uh, the prices are going up. People affordability for housing. People can't afford the houses anymore. I mean, we have to do better. And again, it's because we're not working together. We're looking at one particular side and not looking across the aisles. So my thing is we have to find a way to common ground. And common ground is listening, find that ground of going to getting what people want and not just what politicians say they need. So that's my
Okay, and
biggest. I'm
how do you
sorry.
feel is the best way to go about that working on the state level?
Again, listening and finding out listening to everybody across the aisle, listening to my colleagues and talking to people in the community. Some people are saying, hey, look, we need better housing, affordable housing. So find out from there, what can we do? Can we get some of these builders to have concessions in how they're building the houses and in the communities they're building in? For food prices, it's just hard right now. These tariffs that we're having now, so it's kind of affecting everyone. So we just got to buckle down and see when the state do something. We have funding in the state for certain things the state can do, but right now it's not being done. So we just have to keep pushing through and talking to people and telling them what we have, what the problems that we're facing. and
Okay.
say, how can they, deal with us on that?
All right. So, and you brought up affordable housing. Do you
Mhm.
currently have a plan or an outline in place that you would like to use towards trying to get more affordable housing built in this area?
Well, one of them, like I said earlier, is you give builders concessions, like you build like 20% below market value, and you build at market value right below, so people can move into them. You give builders tax breaks to say, hey, look, if you're going to build 30 condos in the area, townhomes, then, let's say 10 of them have to be below market value to allow people to move into these areas, because now housing prices are so high. I mean, when I first bought my house was $120,000, $130,000. The same house now, four, $500,000. It's
Right.
like, so how can you afford, and the wages have not gone up, and then people still suffer from. So that'll be my biggest thing is give a tax break with builders to try to help.
All right. With builder concessions and tax breaks, I see that happening often in the city of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've noticed is once the buildings have been completed, the builders pay a fee or a fine, however you want to look at it, in order to not reserve that percentage they agreed to be affordable housing. How can we avoid that in this district?
How you can avoid that is you make the fines outrageous. You don't make the fines if you don't build the houses, you get a $20,000 fine. No, if you're supposed to build 30 houses, 30 condos, and each condo is 300, typically 30,000, and you don't build it, your fines are $300,000. You don't make these small fines. You make the fines to where they're pushed to say, no, I'd rather build this than pay that fine. That's the key to making these fines so minimal, so they'll do it. Case in point, when things were going bad with gas prices and people had shortage of gas, people were gouging people and they were telling them, I'm charging you, I made $10,000 off the gas and my fine's $1,000. Okay, fine me 1,000. I made 9,000 profit. But if you're telling me that you're going to fine me for every house I don't do with the cost of the house, yeah, they'll acquiesce to it.
Okay. All right. So with that, more housing, more affordable housing, we have to talk about infrastructure. The biggest issue we have in the state is traffic, specifically in the Metro Atlanta area. Do you have, as an engineer, do you have any plans or solutions that you would like to implement in
As an engineer,
regards to that?
mine was mechanical, so I designed airplanes when I did mine. So, but Anthony,
Okay.
I wasn't civil, I was mechanical. But I do have a plan. Some things would be um, like sometimes you have traffic, it's just hard traffic. So instead of having almost stop signs and lights, go to roundabouts. It really works. They're doing a lot more in the Cobb area, which they didn't want to do initially, but you have to now. Uh, and transportation has to be affordable also. Busing has to be affordable for people. It has to be in an area where people are actually using the buses and not just saying we're going to put them there and they're not going to a place we need to go in. So with that, and also build more work here, live here, play here places. Build them in the area where people want to stay and not have to travel so far. Because now a lot of times, most people don't even work in there, don't live in the areas they work in. They have to travel so far because they can't afford it. So now area,
Right.
let's try to do that with that.
So, what are your feelings about public transit, light rail in specific, in regards to not just expanding MARTA, but across other transit systems in the area?
I think it'd be a great thing because as they say, in the next couple of years, the metro area is expected to receive about 2 to 3 more million people. As they say already, we full. So where are you going to put them? And you can't put them on the highway because the highways now are not designed for that. In fact, the biggest thing that happened was where the design is always based on 20 years previous to what we're doing. And
Right.
they didn't produce this type of growth. So light rails, I think, would be very effective in these areas because
So,
people
how do you?
have, I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead. Your question may give me a different perspective on some things.
Well, I was going to ask, how do you overcome those objectives? People who object that, specifically in Cobb, being that they have been against expanding MARTA into Cobb County literally the entire time?
Well, things are changing. That was the old guard in Cobb County because Cobb was, it's the reputation when I first moved there, it was called Snob Cobb. That's no longer the case anymore now. Cobb is actually a part of the metro and not exclusive from the metro area. So to have things that the leadership has changed. So with that said, things are going to change. And I would definitely push for that to change because in my area, there's a bus route. Initially, we didn't have a bus like Bus Route 25 in my area. They said they didn't want to have it over here because they think people are going to use it. Now it's one of the highest used routes in the county. So where they have to sometimes force them to see what's real, not perception, but reality.
Okay. So how do you feel like you could help tie all that together with the different transit systems, like between Cobb and Fulton? Specifically, well, South Fulton, we don't have one as of yet. So that would be still considered MARTA in this area.
Mm-hmm. Well, like you just said, make them see what's really going on. Show them that the population there needs it, and show them what the benefit of them by putting buses in those areas. How it benefits them also. Because most companies, if they don't see the benefit from it, then they don't want to do it. We have to show them that there will be riders on the buses. You know, so and then in the city itself, they can show where people are coming in spending money because they're riding the bus. They're getting around better. They're going to different shops. They're going to different areas. So now, make sure you're more attractive. Also, the people have transportation. Everyone doesn't have cars. And the prices of cars are going up now. You know, public transportation is going to be a big thing for people, even with people that they call themselves upper middle class, middle class. They're going to start riding the system too, also because of the price of cars and parking. Because parking is outrageous going anywhere a lot of times, just the cost of it. So forcing them to see that there's the benefits of having these transit systems.
Okay. In addition to transit being an issue here, below I-20, as you know, we lack a hospital. And that's something that this community desperately needs in this area. How would you go about trying to get us that certificate of need so we can get a hospital built for our community?
What you just said, certificate of need. That's the key, showing them the need for it. And pushing people to say, hey, this is what we need in these areas. And show them the disparities in it. And show how these affluent areas, a lot of times, they getting 4 and 5 hospitals. Is it for profit or are you actually trying to help people? So a lot of time calling them out. You know, a lot of time people behind closed doors, I mean, they get in public, they want to be all nice people. But a lot of times that can't be the thing it takes. It takes being in public saying, hey, look, there's a need. You say you're for healthcare, then show us you're for healthcare, not just for profit. So making and showing that people are important, that we need it in these areas and show the disparities in it. And like you say, sometimes we have to offer incentives to them. You know, the biggest thing that I've seen in the state of Georgia, how Georgia operates with everything, they offer tax breaks. That's why so many companies are moving into the area. So the hospitals do the same thing on the land they're trying to acquire. Give them a break on the land they're trying to acquire. So there's a need that people are going to come because you have to travel so far.
Now, with the tax breaks, are these like tax abatements that scale over time? So it starts at 100 and then drops to 90, 80, 70, so on and so forth? Or are these just full-on tax abatements forever?
For hospitals, the way things are going, I would say long term. Because you start dropping it, once you drop it to a certain point, once it ends, well, they can be like, you know what, we're not making any money, let's move. That's what happened in certain areas. They figured they weren't making any money, and they moved. So if you offer it to them like the other businesses, then they'll stay. Because in this country, it's not about healthcare. It's called affordable healthcare. And for us, they have to feel they can make. That's it. Show them it's affordable for you and for us. Have to make it work for everyone.
Okay, so how would we, as a community, make up for that loss in tax revenue without our personal taxes being raised?
But right now, the state is booming. So your property tax wouldn't have to raise. You wouldn't lose anything because we have such a surplus in the state right now. You know, and that would be the biggest thing. Property tax wouldn't have to be raised. And some things you can do also is, like in this area, I've talked about Cobb like that's where I live. That's where most of my work has been.
Right.
A squad always works for everything. So that's the purpose of local option sales tax. You always get some things done on that way. So a 1 cent sales tax can generate so much, so you won't lose that. And that can be an incentive for them
All
also,
right.
showing, hey, we're going to have to offset some of the costs.
Okay. One thing that's come up specifically, it's been a hot button topic across, I would say, the South, and it's now reached Georgia, is the elimination of our state income tax. What is your position on that, and how would you handle that situation?
If you eliminate state income tax, the money will have to come from somewhere.
That's correct.
So where does it come from? I mean, your property tax is going to have to go up. Because right now we're in a boom, but we may not always be in that boom. So that's, we can lower the percentage of tax rates, but to actually eliminate it, I don't believe we should eliminate it because of that reason. Because it's going to come back to bite us one day. And I want my
Right.
grandkids to have to fight the bullet for something that we did now. I know it may not
Right.
be popular, but that's real. That is reality. Because the wheel's always in a boom like this. So just because it's here now, it may not stay forever. So let's make sure people property taxes don't rise, because that's what hurts people more than anything. Your property tax is going. So that's how we can
Trust
do that.
me, I understand that because my taxes. So we have our
Yeah.
first question from the audience. Rashard Snellers, could you unmute your mic, please?
All right, thank you so much. So you were previously talking about eliminating the state income tax and that the money needed to come from somewhere. So in the state of Florida, they don't have state taxes, and there's a measure to eliminate property taxes. Is that a model that we can replicate here in Georgia, or are the economies different? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the economy in Florida is different from here in Georgia. Florida is a tourist state, period. That's how they make their money. So they're always having things coming into them, and we don't have that. The metro area can survive that, but the rest of the state couldn't. Because a lot of the rest of Georgia, leave the metro area, a lot of Georgia is rural. So the rural counties couldn't survive that. That would be my biggest thing on that. That's why Florida can do it, because the entire state is based on tourism, and Georgia isn't.
Thank you for that. Back to you, Mike.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to piggyback on that. You did make a good point that everything in Florida is based around tourism, obviously because of the weather and the access to beaches. Do you think that is something that we could spur in Georgia in regards to casinos? That's something that we have been fighting about for some years now, getting casinos here in Georgia. Do you think that could spark tourism? Because the way I understand the way the previous bills have been written, the casinos would be strategically placed around the state for that specific reason.
Well, with that, it could work with their drawbacks on it also, because the states that have a lot of with casinos now, they find a lot of gambling problems also. You become, and a lot of time you have these casinos, it's not the people you think are going to go to them. It's not the affluent that's going to go. It's those that are desperate that are going to go a lot of times. So they put themselves in worse situations a lot of times. So if you put them in certain, it may work, but again, you have to look at where they're placing them. Because a lot of times the people you think are going to them are not the ones that are going. The people who need the money the most, that are hurting the most, are spending money at the casinos.
Okay. Do you feel like that could be a source of tax revenue to offset the loss of a state income tax, considering that people in Georgia who do gamble and go to casinos, there are casinos close. So we lose millions of dollars in revenue to North Carolina, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, casinos that you can go and come back in the same day. So do you think having those here would be able to keep that money home where we could use it for our needs here?
But again, it depends where you place them. How they're located and how they're structured. What percentage is the state getting from it, and things of that nature. But again, it varies. Like I say, a lot of times they put them in places where the people who need the most are the most desperate ones that are going to. I know what you're saying, they're traveling out. A lot of those people may or may not go. But it could work. But again, that'd be where they're placed. But it could help,
All
but it's where they're placed. That'll be my concern. Because the
right.
same thing,
How do
I
you,
go along that same thing, scholarship. When the Hope Scholarship came along with the lottery tickets, right?
with the lottery?
Initially,
Yeah.
the Hope Scholarship, people, a certain GPA, but a certain economic level, right? Then they made it across the board. So what we thought we were going to gain some stuff, we lost some of it. If they go back and take even the lottery itself and go back and redesign it and go back to it designed for lower income kids, those who need it, that would be generate some income also. So again, how is it structured? That would be the big, how is it structured?
Okay, that makes sense. So, what would be your focus in regards to this first year? Because this election is for the remainder of Jason Estevez's tenure. If I understand it, you would have essentially 1 year, and then it's back to campaign season again. So, what would you focus on
Absolutely.
in this 1 year to get done in a short amount of time?
But I would focus on this 1 year, and when I win again the next time also, the next 2 years, for the next 3 years, I would focus on really trying to get education a major priority. And not only education, but lower education. Remember, that is the pre-K, Head Start, things up to third grade. The reason I'm saying that is right now our prisons are based on third grade reading, because up to third grade you learn to read, up to third grade you're reading to learn. So we can focus on lower education where we get them the things they need, make sure our kids are taught and able to read. In the long run, it affects us all. Now they become productive citizens and not a burden on the state. Because we don't need as many prisons anymore now. My biggest thing is, which I find is, if we're saying that we're building a bill for education, doing stuff for education, it seems to be, I don't know if it's framed properly or pushed properly. Most of the time they're voted down no. But we'll say we get money for a new prison or something, all of a sudden everybody's for it. Because they say crime is high, but we can get to show them where, hey, if you put the money on the front end to help these kids out, in the long run, it benefits us all. So that'll be my biggest focus, on making sure lower education is funded. So everything, it benefits, it shows how it benefits us all in the long run.
Okay. So with education funding, a big thing here that's been going on for the last few years are school choice vouchers. How do you feel about people taking their kids and the money out of the public school system and taking it to a private school? And
I'm
then
against vouchers.
where we're seeing is a lot of those kids don't stay at those private schools. They come back to the public schools, but that money does not come back to the school system. That money is just gone. How do you,
Yes.
what's your stance on that, and how can we resolve that type of issue?
I'm against vouchers for private school, totally. There's no way. Public schools should be fully funded. And how we get around it is find out why these parents taking their kids out. I had a conversation with one of my friends who's a Republican. He made the statement that he's taking his kids out because his kids were in the top 5% and the rest of the kids were behind. Well, I made the statement to him, well, when kids are behind, you have specialty class for those kids. So for the kids that are ahead, you should have special class for them also. So make sure they're fully funded to accommodate what we need, and not saying, hey, we don't have the funding for it. We do. We have to emphasize that to make sure everyone stays home. That's why they're leaving, because they feel there's a lack of what the kids are getting. And on that note, what I would like to do also is make sure we go back to allowing teachers to teach. Right now, we're so polarized on standardized tests and things of that nature. Teachers not teaching anymore. So we got to try to get back to teaching our children again, allowing teachers to teach and allow some autonomy in that. I know it's a hard sell, but it's a fight I'm willing to take on for that reason.
And have you been speaking with or working with any teachers groups, the teachers union in the state?
No, not yet. But I've talked to local people and I've emphasized, what I would like to do. Like one of the things I had a conversation before, one of the classes that kids can help is like an economics class. Everybody wants to blow the system up, but the system may not be broke. We may not utilizing it properly. Someone said about our kids don't know how to do bank system anymore. They don't know how to write check, do mortgages. I'm like, all these things are taught. When I was in school, they were taught in school. It was emphasized. Now it's not. So go back to making sure we have the basics taught to our kids again, not just saying, hey, take this test and move on. So that's what I feel we lost. We lost the ability for our teachers to teach because we
Okay.
focus so much on standardized tests and not on what's actually the kids actually learning. I give an example of my own personal life. My high school, I'm from Louisiana, my high school was not a college prep high school. It was a typical country high school where the highest class math in my high school was algebra 2. Whether to be an engineer, you have to start off in calculus. When I got to
Right.
Southern, I took the calculus test. But guess what? I passed the test. Didn't know anything about calculus. I was 17 years old. They let me know right then and there. I standardized. The test didn't tell me what I knew. It told me what I was exposed to and what I thought was common sense. But it wasn't a test of
Right.
who I was. So get away from using standardized tests for measurements all the time and actually look at what the kids are learning. Because sometimes some kids learn differently. And right now we're setting everybody up, we're teaching everyone the same way and the same pattern. That's not how life is, because we're all individuals.
How do you think we make that change, considering we're a country that's obsessed with putting people in a box and quantifying everything using numbers?
But what we're doing now, having this conversation and showing them what we're doing, how we're losing so many talented people because we're putting them in a box and not giving them the ability to try to show who they are. Because I tell people myself personally, if they'd have put me in a box of what they did, I wouldn't be here. Based on what they said, the SAT, I scored an 8th on it in math and SAT. It's low number ACT, low number in math. Why? It's all I was exposed to. What I was exposed to, I did well on. I was allowed to have the classes needed to do what I did. I graded on the 3.0 in engineering. So with that said, that's what I'm saying. We have to go back to showing them the value of it and emphasizing that on the ability of having individuals learning and not saying, hey, this is all you can do and get away from that. But I told my wife, this happened over 30 years ago. When we fell behind the Japanese and things in math and science, and we started focusing on standardized tests, and we're also about creativity with that way. Because everyone is not brilliant in some subjects, but they may be brilliant in life in doing certain things. But not afford the opportunity. And with that said, along that same line, well, if I can piggyback on that, that's why I emphasize, make sure we keep funding HBCUs.
Okay,
So
you
for that
mentioned
reason,
something. You just mentioned something as far as creativity, because not every student learns the same. If people have different strengths and weaknesses, and in the school systems, they have been cutting out a lot of the arts programs, a lot of the music programs, the creative aspects of schools, with even more funding being cut on the federal level that we're not receiving in our school systems. How do we make up for that shortfall, and how do we bring those classes back for those students?
well, like I said, one thing we can do is use SPLOSH, because SPLOSH is Youth for Education, and fund the classroom for that, and just push where we show the value of it, and go even on the state, even on the national level. Show our congressmen, like Warnock and also, I know they for it because they emphasize that, but to show them the value and show people why we need arts and creativity, because people using music are good in math and science. You look good in math because of numbers and things. Art allows you to explore everything. We don't have, you're right, we're losing that. We have to emphasize that again, show the value of it. Because right now, if you can't show the value of things in this country, it's gone. You have to show them by taking that away, what we have lost. Go back and show, hey, this person, if they'd have been what you said based on what they did, we wouldn't have certain things. Because we may not have certain computers if somebody would do certain things. We may not have the cell phones if they've just been stuck on just them doing certain things. So show the value of it. Music. So music, we lose music now. We lose everything. Show them the value and emphasize that and show, hey, this is what we need. Not just something to get rid of, and show why we need it. And show how it allows people to do more.
Okay. This region, this area is home to a lot of small businesses, entrepreneurs. The previous senator was big on incubating small businesses and making sure they were successful. What plans do you have in place, or do you have any ideas for small businesses and helping them become successful, or any small business or entrepreneurial incubators to help people get started and get their businesses off the ground?
The same thing we do with larger businesses. We give them tax breaks. Most businesses fail in the first 3 to 4 years. Take about 4 years for a business to start having success. So in those times, give them tax breaks. Give them tax breaks on what they're doing, because that's why they fail. All the things they're doing, everything is costing up front. So give them a break in the first 3 to 4 years to try to do that, and show them, hey, we're supporting you in that and promoting them. With these larger companies, when it comes to certain areas, hey, look, you have to do business with our people in our communities. Not just say you want to have, if you're doing signs or whatever, right? If we have shops, print shops in our communities, let's use those. Let's not go outside of our communities to use them, because you're in our community. In our community, the dollar doesn't stay in our community most of the time. It leaves out. There are other communities they travel with 7 times, and ours is 1 time, 2, maybe 2. So let's do that and show them what we can have in our communities. To give them that break, especially, like I said, especially the first couple of years, to give them a tax break to show them we want you to survive and thrive.
Yeah.
And promote them in the larger companies.
So how do you think we could attract businesses to this area, specifically for employment, white collar jobs, like the Cumberland area, Marietta, so on and so forth?
To show them that what we have is an educated workforce. So make sure our workforce is educated. Again, it goes back to education again. If your workforce is educated, then companies are not going to want to come in there. So show them that we do have an educated workforce. And the people, we work hard anyway. That's a given. We work hard. But show them that when you're coming in, the workforce is educated. And so so you don't have to try to bring people in to run your business. We're already here. You just come up and then hire us. That would be the biggest thing, that we are educated to do your business.
All right. So this district.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I said this district has a bunch of new cities. Within the last 10 years or so, we all pretty much next door to each other. South Fulton, Chattahoochee Hills, Mableton. I think Austell just incorporated not too long ago. There was a push for Vinings to incorporate as well. What do you see as the future of this area in this district with everybody incorporated? How can we work together to turn this into an economic powerhouse, considering our access to the airport, so we can be on par with the northern suburbs?
It's what you just said. Everybody working together. We'll get the leadership together and say, look, Austell, Mableton, South Fulton, Chattahoochee, say, look, let's form a plan. What can we bring to our area? We all benefit from the show. Because that's what the North did. It wasn't just one area. They got together and said, how can we impact our area? So the same thing, the leadership in the South has to get together and say, look, how can we grow? Not just how can my city grow, how can we grow? Because as you say, we all attached together. So for that reason, just show how it can benefit us all. If a company comes into South Fulton and Mableton is, adjoining or whatever, hey, bring some of the people from over here. How can have small businesses, again, attached to that? But that'll be the biggest thing, showing where the leaderships in these areas come together to have a plan to bring businesses together for the unit, the area itself, and not just for their cities.
And do you have the relationships already in the State House to work on that on a legislative level?
No, on some cases I do, but my ability, well, I'll give you an example. No, not always. I have some people, but the thing is, it's me, myself, what I'm capable of doing. When I did things here in Cobb County, I didn't know anyone when I started doing things. But I got on Cobb's oversight school board oversight committee. My first couple of months, I learned the players. And once I learned to play, learn how things work, listening and learn. Sometimes learning is just listening, how things function. Once I learned how things function, then I collaborate with people and made things happen. And I did these things when college was ready. And that's the ability to listen to people and actually take their ideas and run with it, good ideas. But the ability to listen to people and be respectful. But by that is, I listen, like, again, listen to everyone's ideas. May not always agree with them, but I take everyone's ideas and listen to them. So working with people and being across them, and that's it.
Listening is half the battle, that's for sure. We have a question from Mr. Ron Booth. If you can unmute your mic, please.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Mr. Williams. Education was touched on just a few minutes ago, and I'm wondering what specifically you would do as a state senator to get young people more involved in the legislative process.
Okay, I would love to have meetings with everyone. In other words, if you have a meeting in your area, invite me. I want to have not only just, town hall meetings, but small meetings with leaderships. If you call and say, Mr. Williams, look, I have about 5 of my friends. We have a business we're trying to do, some things we're trying to do. Can you meet with us? If my schedule permits, absolutely. What their need and push.
All right, thank you for that.
And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I lost my. I'm back. Yeah. So yes. Yeah. And again, let me back it up. I do have more connect. I just thought about it when I started thinking in my head. I do have a lot of connections on the state level. A lot of them know me, but they know my work. So they do know we're in educate again. So yeah. Mr. Booth, to answer your question?
You did. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna piggyback off of Ron's question a little bit. In South Fulton specifically, I've noticed there isn't very much participation in legislative process or political process, however you want to look at it, by young people. In a lot of the rooms, I'm the youngest person in the room, and I'm 45 years old, which in the grand scheme of things is not very young. So how do you suggest, or what plans do you have? I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, could you repeat your question? Your question was kind of choppy in the beginning. Can you repeat your question, please? I'm sorry.
Oh, my apologies. I said I was piggybacking off of Ron in regards to young people, and how can we get more young people involved in the legislative and political process, specifically on the lower level? Because in my experience here in South Fulton, a lot of the meetings and things that I go to in regards to local politics, I'm the youngest person in the room at 45. And I feel like younger people need to be in the room and sharing their voices, but they're not there. How, or do you have a plan to get younger people involved?
Show them how important that vote, show them that their vote counts. Show them why them not voting, show the percentages and say, look, here's who's controlling your life. You have a say in it. If you participate, to show them the value of their votes. Because young people right now, they're calling this narrative, my vote doesn't count, my vote doesn't count. But I tell them, if your vote didn't count, why they make it so hard for you to vote? The same people tell you not to vote, they're steady voting. So show them where their vote actually counts. Show them races of examples where a race in South Georgia was won by 1 vote. Show them examples where Sam almost beat the incumbent mayor of Marietta. He only lost by 87 votes. Show them these things. But listen, if you get involved, you make decisions yourself. You can determine a lot of things if you get involved. Show them the value of involvement, not just telling them, but showing them. Invite, in fact, coming to some of the younger kids and tell them, hey, look, I want you to come out and be a part of this. Invite them, going to the colleges and have them talk to the colleges and say, look, not just to all the kids, and say, look, and ask them why, what is it about? When I talk to these youngsters, that's what they tell me. It doesn't really matter. They're gonna do what they want to do anyway. And I'm telling them that's not true. If your vote didn't matter, why are they making it so hard for you to vote? Because they have so much apathy now. That's their biggest thing. To show them how important it is to go back to show that we got to where we are now because we voted. And things are being taken away from us because we're not voting. So emphasize to them as the value of them voting, not just tell them I want you to vote, but show them why they vote counts, and show them how close some of these races are when they do vote, and show them how your voice can be heard. Just because you're 18 and 19 and you're eligible to vote, you have a voice. Express it. So that's what we have to emphasize to them. You have a voice. You're not silent. No, you have a voice. Use it. They right now don't think their voice matters, and it does.
Do you have any plans on using any young people in your campaign to express that?
Most people in my campaign who are helping me are in that 30 range down to 18. So I don't have a lot of older people I have some older folks, but I have a lot of young folks in my campaign already helping me by emphasizing it because they know how I am. In fact, when I was every year, until the last year when they stopped this, last couple of years, I've always gone to the high schools and did voter registration drives for 18, 19-year-olds and show them, hey, look, you're about to be of age. Don't let no one else determine your future without you being a part of the process. So emphasizing to them and getting them involved, going out to them, having them register to vote and pushing for that. That was the biggest thing, pushing for them to vote and going to the schools. Senior year, I used to go twice a year, in the fall and in the spring. I know kids about to turn 18, hey, register to vote, and then give them information, do research. Don't just vote for a candidate because do your research. Be an informed voter. Don't just vote because somebody's telling you. Be informed because kids now, everything at their disposal. You tell them anything now, first thing they're going to their phone. So look it up. So you can show them, hey, look, I need you to be a part of this because you count more than you realize.
Indeed.
And the youth, that's what motivates me, the youth. I mean, my grandmother always says, you surround yourself with young people, they talk about growth and living, old people talk about dying. So
she wasn't wrong about that. All right, we have another
That's right.
question from Rashard. Please unmute your mic.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to encourage the audience, if you would like to ask a question, please use the reaction button and raise your hand. Now, Mr. Williams, in the city of South Fulton, we recently ran into a situation where in our charter, it says that our millage rate can't increase beyond a certain percentage, but the city council was dead set on getting rid of our millage rate cap without it being placed on the ballot for without it being placed on the ballot. Now, what are your thoughts on municipalities being able to remove millage rate caps without the consent of the actual taxpayers?
I'm against it. Again, because it's your money they're taking. You should have a say in it because you're making a decision on it. So that's why it should be voted on. It shouldn't be about a backroom deal on that. No, the people should decide if that's what they want. It should be up to the people because it's on you. Either way it goes, people are gonna suffer or benefit. So the people should make that decision, not the leaders like that. No.
Now, part of the problem was there's with home rules, it gives the municipality the authority to do this. So there's a conflict within our city charter and then the home rules powers. So do you have any thoughts on how we get around that? How we make that more fair for all parties involved? What are your thoughts on that?
Bring leadership back together and pass local legislation. Bring the leadership together and find out where the disparities and why they exist. So bring them together.
All right, thank
That'll
you.
be the biggest thing. Quite welcome. Thank you.
You might.
All right. I'm going to slightly piggyback on Rashard's question in regards to the city of South Fulton. So we have a weak mayor, strong council system. This was a two-part question. First part is, how do you feel about that type of system, and do you feel it is beneficial to a city? And two, there has been a lot of talk about moving us from that system to a strong mayor system and have the city be led by the mayor instead of the city manager, which would require changes to the charter. And so do you feel like we should be able to vote on that in a referendum? Or
Yes.
that's changed? Oh, okay, so yes to that one. Okay. So we can go back to the first part of the question.
Yes, I think you have a stronger mayor because if you look at most cities, the mayor is the strongest person. The manager is supposed to follow what the mayor and the city and the council wants to have happen, not them making a decision. That's why you vote for the mayor and for the leadership position. Let them lead. Plain and simple, let them lead. But you want a strong council to make sure to keep them in check, but not where they override, not where the city manager is running, because that shouldn't be his job. It should be the mayor's job to run and lead the city. And city managers to make sure things are ran properly. As they say, the manager, to make sure he's managing what the mayor and the council wants to have happen. And not what they're saying we're going to do. So a strong mayor, I would agree with that.
All right. How do you feel about having a citizens oversight board, not just for the police, but for the city in general?
I love it. Absolutely love it, because I was on Cobb's oversight for the school board, and Cobb County have different precincts, and I'm on precinct 3 police group, where we have certain questions we talk about. We talked about them bringing the flock system, where they were watching reading the license plates reader. Initially, they wanted to have it for a year, and we talked to them, no, that's too long. You know, why you need the information in the system that long? So we got them into doing it for 90 days because we were oversight. We were not saying oversight, but a group that actually they listened to, had input. So it makes a difference. They're just making decisions. So an oversight is always great. It holds people accountable.
Indeed, accountability is very key. We have another question from the audience. I don't know your name, but I do know your phone. Samsung SM S926U. Please unmute your mic. You have the floor.
Yes, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. It's Patricia, and I keep forgetting to put my name in there, and but it's Patricia. So I've been on 99.9% of all of the coalition interviews. So good evening. So my question is, and it's always been for 99.9 of all the participants on the coalition site, is we've been gaining a lot of momentum at the Capitol with the House and Senate committee involving HOA reform. And what are your thoughts, if any, on HOA reform in regards to helping homeowners have better protections against boards that are not at the level that they should be? I'll put it that way.
Oh, I agree with you. HOAs have too much power. They just have too much. It should be something to do where they can't just dictate people. You know, if it takes legislation to change that, so be it. But right now, they just have too much power. You know, they should maybe just come to take your home based on if you don't acquiesce to what they want. No, or just give in to what they want. No, they have. So I'm with the legislature of saying that no, let's change the HOAs. I'm with that all the way. They just have too much power.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. We do have Senate Bill, I think it's 106, 107, and 108. That's in the process. I'm not sure exactly the where it's at, but looks like it's going to be gaining some types of approvals. I know that Donzella James and Senator Kemp and Senator Bass and a few others have came up and supported some of the bills. So we're hoping that as it gains momentum, others will pick up and see the relevance of HOA reform. So thank you very much.
And I'm your state senator. I would support that also.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, we have a couple of more questions. We have Rashard, but there was a question in the chat.
I was gonna
and then
address the question in the chat, but you can read that question in the chat, and then I'll ask a different question.
Okay.
Okay.
So from Ms. Pearl Farland Massey, do you have plans to connect with caregivers in District 35 to find out their needs and collaborate with agencies and organizations to support them?
Yes, my plan, like I said, to meet. In fact, it's so crazy. I met with a caregiver today. She runs a small home daycare, and we talked to these things up. She said she's going to the legislature in January. She has an appointment in January already to talk to some people about that. So to make sure, again, form coalitions have the biggest thing is to listen to people forming. If there's not a coalition that exists already, let's form one. So they can come and say, here's our needs. Here's what we need. Here's what we want. Let's make it happen. Let's talk to people, going to them, and working together. Because caregivers for our kids and things, and people, even for older adults, because I'm not there yet, but we're gonna need help one day. So making sure they have what they need and just talking to them. That's the biggest thing. No one is talking to anyone anymore. Everyone is telling these people what they need, and no one is listening to them as to what really is going on. So again, listening. My biggest thing is when I accomplish everything I've ever accomplished has always been first is to listen. Because you, as I said, you can't learn if you're always talking.
It's 100% true.
So that means
Richard? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Go
All
ahead.
right. So, Mr. Williams, how familiar are you with the Georgia Open Records Act?
I'm very familiar with it because I've had dealings in Cobb, whereas we were dealing stuff with the school system. Actually, one of the sporting programs, and they wanted us to open records. They wanted us to pay for some things that we had given them, to them, and they wanted us to pay to get it back. So no, I think it should be open to get the things that we need. It shouldn't be caught you with an arm and a leg to get these things. That's why they try to.
Yeah, you were breaking up, but I'll just ask the second part of my question. So, with the Georgia Open Records Act, this is an issue that we have in the city of South Fulton, not adhering to the Open Records Act. I will actually be in court with them tomorrow morning on this, holding them accountable for this. What ideas do you have to make it easier for people to hold government agencies accountable without having to take them to court? And the reason I ask this question is because when you go to the Attorney General's office, they're supposed to enforce this, but all they really do is just send an email to the city or to the county or whoever it is. They respond and then they close the case. So, do you have any ideas about how we have stronger enforcement mechanisms with the Attorney General's office as it relates to open records requests?
Not only that, but it's the people that you elect. We have to make sure we elect the people that truly want to represent us, and where they're not trying to hide things. That's where it starts. The people that you elect. If you elect the right people, you have nothing to hide. Why are you hiding? Make it accessible because it's public records. Make it accessible to the public, and not where the public got to fight to see it. So it goes back to the people that you elect in your leadership, to where they want to be accountable and transparent, which I love doing. So that's really where it starts. You have to fight this because they don't want to be transparent or held accountable. So it starts with who do you elect?
All right.
That's where it starts.
Yeah, thank you for that. But I was looking more about the Attorney General. What can we do to get the Attorney General more involved to enforce these things?
Put pressure on. As a state legislature, you can put pressure on. If you have legislatures going to him, he has to put pressure on it. Because right now, there's nothing in the charter, state charter, you can make them do it. But as an elected official, if he knows he's being watched and eyes are being put on him, and it's more than just one state senator, it's a collective, group of senators, things will happen. But it can't be it has to be a group effort. That we're emphasizing him, hey, this has to happen. And putting pressure on him, hold him accountable, and not letting them get away with just writing a letter. No, just write a letter. Okay, what are you doing? Have you been down there to see him yourself? Or are you actually going to yourself to these things? Or you send a representative to do this, not just writing a letter. And holding people accountable. And pushing him to be accountable, because his job to make him accountable and hold him to that. And when he's not doing, call him out.
All right, thank you for that. And Mike, we have a stop at 8 o'clock coming up, so I just wanted to bring this to your attention.
All right, thank you for that,
Does that answer your
Richard.
question?
Yeah.
But you good with the answer? You need any Anything else? Are you okay with that one?
No, yeah, I got my answer, but I'm gonna turn it back to Mike. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna ask a quick question.
Okay.
Somewhat in regards to that, a lot of cities use the open checkbook system where citizens can go online and see everything that's being spent by the city.
Mhm.
Do you think this is something that could be implemented statewide as far as with the state government as well?
It could be, but with the state, there's so much involved in the state thing, so people can go into it. But if I don't see a problem with it, again, it's the state's money, it's our money. It's the thing that we're spending, so why can't anyone just look at it? But again, having oversight actually could enforce it, but everyone should have access to it. Why shouldn't they? I agree with it. It should be accessible to everyone. I believe in transparency.
Hmm.
I truly believe in transparency. That's all you're being is transparent. Because when people are transparent, they're more than likely to do the right thing if there are no eyes upon them. If I know the whole state can see what we're spending, guess what I'm making sure of? We're doing it right. So it makes you accountable.
All right. And accountability breeds trust, indeed. So we have
Absolutely.
4 minutes left. I want to give you the floor to make any closing remarks or statements, your last pitch to get people to vote for John Williams.
Okay. Well, I believe I should be your next state senator because of my hard work, the things that I've accomplished, and the things that I want to continue doing. I've shown the ability to work across the aisles in this tumultuous time. I've shown the ability to work with everyone. I've had some of my Republican friends call and tell me, well, John, we like the way you fight. And when they said that, I'm like, what do you mean you like the way I fight? It was, you don't make things personal. It's about policies and procedures. And with that said, you have the ability to go with people on the next subject. But if you get to make it personal, when I see you coming out, I don't hear anything you have to say. So I always make things about policies and procedures. I emphasize education. I emphasize recreation. Emphasize mental health. Emphasize structure. Mental health is a big part of things we have now too. Though some people go through so many changes, and no one's addressing it. Mental health should be a part of the school systems also. Education-wise, I think schools and things should be more safer. I know there's a bill already in the Senate right now for safety. I agree with that. I feel every school should be safe for our kids. So whereas when you hear a school shooting going on, you don't have to worry about is that your school or not because you know they can't get into your schools because you have a buzzing system to get into. I would like to emphasize again on our resource office at the schools of not arresting our kids at school, but going back to their original job. But their intent is to protect the public from outside, to protect the schools from the public. So go back to what things were charged to do on that. Again, education is making sure public education is fully funded. That would be one of the biggest things. Transparency, accountability. That's who I am. The things that I've done, I've been transparent in it. I work with people. In fact, I had a situation once with Cobb County that I wanted to do something myself, but the community, that's not what they wanted to do. So when I went to the powers that be, I told them, I've never been elected official before, but I've been a representative of the community for a long time. So I go to the powers that be, I tell them, hey, here's what the community wants. They say, John, it doesn't matter. Here's what the community says they want, and I stand behind what the community wants. So I'm a listener, I'm a fighter, I'm a starter and a finisher. And I want to be your next state senator for that reason. I feel I have the ability to get along with people, to work. I'm a hard worker. All I've ever shown to do was work hard. That's me, a hard worker. All I do is work. I work to make things better. So I would like to do that on the next level to show that I can be inclusive and not dismissive. I mean, that is, a lot of times you're talking to people now, we're so polarized. Everyone has their own opinion of something. It doesn't give anyone else a chance to hear what they have to say. I listen. That's the big thing. I listen. And I listen for information, not just listen to say, I'm hearing you, but to learn and to gain, to make things more valuable, and how can I be an asset? So I'd love to be your next state senator for that reason, because I'm ready to serve. So thank you so much. Thank you, and again, please vote for me, John Williams, of the people, for the people.
Thanks so much, John. And how can the people get in contact with you?
You can contact me through my website, johnwilliamsga.com. I'm on all the social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I think I'm on Twitter too. I'm not sure. Anyway, you can find I'm there. Here's my phone number. You can actually call me, 770-873-5718. I'm accessible. I have no problem talking to anyone. In fact, my wife said, well, my biggest thing, my family always says, I've never met a stranger. I've only met people I don't know.
All right. Everybody, Mr. John Williams, thanks so much for your time this evening.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me. Thank you.
You're very welcome.